Hi, how you doing? It's January 17th, 10 days after Neil Peart died. And my YouTube name is Starman2112 Rush. So I thought I should probably just do a little memorial to Neil and Rush from a perspective of 57-year-old fan right here. Um, Became a fan of Rush in about 1976 when I was 14 years old. I'm now 57, and I've seen about right around 60 shows. don't uh, I don't have all the ticket stubs or counted them all, but it's around 60, 50 to 70, somewhere in that range. Starting in 1978 and ending in 2015. Um, I grew up in the northern suburbs of Chicago. My childhood pretty much sucked, and Rush was a big highlight of it. Um, when I was younger, we call it junior high, but I was middle school. I was like into disco and roller skating. People my age probably remember roller skating. It was a big thing. And the Bee Gees, I thought that was like amazing. My parents weren't into music at all, even though my dad's a great piano player and clarinet player. I think they had two albums, The Carpenters and Johnny Mathis. I'm the oldest of three brothers, so I had no older brothers. So I didn't know anything about music when I was that young. And then the summer between middle school and high school, being summer 1976, I started hearing rock and roll, started hearing some Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and heard some Rush, like Working Man, Finding My Way. Somewhere, I mean, the years are kind of blurred there, but 76, I started to get into rock music and started to get rid of the whole disco era and change from my silk shirts into black t-shirts and jeans, and my hair a massive fro of hair, and I was kind of always on the outside of a type of person, kind of a loner on my own, whatever. I did have some friends, but anyway, I remember very clearly 76 or early 77. I was in my friend's car in the back seat, a Volkswagen Beetle in the back seat. There was four of us in the car. He had his driver's permit. He was driving me to school, and he put on 2112 on his cassette deck. Extremely loud, and his stereo probably cost more than his car cost. And from that moment on, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what am I listening to? When it was over, well, we looked like the kids in Wayne's World, like banging our heads like Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, it was insane. I had never heard it ever before. They have all heard it before. When the song was over, I'm like, what is that? What is that? What is that? He pops out the cassette. And I said, Rush 2112. And they laughed at me like, it's Rush 2112. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And I was just a fanatic after that. So I had to go out, get their album. Of course, I had to get a cassette also. Once I started driving, I had cassettes of all Rush in my car, and I had all their albums in my house. Um, I'm talking too long here. 1977 or 78. Let me see here. 1978, I finally saw Rush on the Hemispheres tour at the International Amphitheater in Chicago. First concert I ever been to in my entire life. Really never see much live music at all. I go and see Hemispheres, and they play 2112 with the Starman up there, and the whoosh, and the laser beams and the smoke, and I didn't know what to think. I was like, this is a whole nother world for me. I've never seen anything like this in my life. How come people haven't told me about this? How come my parents don't know about this? I didn't even understand what was going on here. From then on, I was just an incredible fan. Incredible fan. I should probably show you this just to get me some legitimacy here. I don't know if I can move the camera around here, but that's how much a Rush fan I am. So I got that tattoo about, I was like 48 or 49 years old. First tattoo I ever got. So high school, college, late 70s, 80s, all through the 80s. I just saw Rush every time they came through Chicago. So we had the International Amphitheater, which sometimes they played 4 days in a row. I went to all 4 days. Chicago Stadium, Aragon Ballroom. I'd see all the shows. And then they would go to Alpine Valley in Wisconsin, and I would go see the shows at Alpine Valley. Used to be able to camp there. I remember a 4th of July, I believe they played 2 days in a row, and I stayed there for 2 days and watched them. Saw both shows. I think another year they played, Journey played like Friday night and Rush played Saturday night. Saw both of those. I never ever missed a show in Chicago ever. I believe I called in sick to work. I didn't show up to work. I went when I had the flu. I would just never miss Rush. I couldn't miss him. Unbelievable. Meant so much to me. Um, they just got me through all those years, those teenage years and the early 20s. It was always Rush, 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 Rush. Though I listened to other music, of course, but it always came back to Rush. Um, Neil was always the best drummer I'd ever seen. You know, I've seen videos of John Bonham. I never saw him live. I never saw Keith Moon live, but Peart was the best to me. Um, like I said, seen probably about 60 shows. So I went through all those years, saw Rush. About 29 years old, I moved to Denver. So I'm speaking to you from Roxborough Village, which is a beautiful neighborhood in unincorporated Littleton, uh, south of Denver, Colorado. Came out here, saw Rush at, I think I saw him at McNichols Arena. I can't tell you for sure. Saw him at Pepsi Center a lot, saw him at Red Rocks, every Red Rocks show, every Pepsi Center show, and Fiddler's Green show. Again, never missed any shows. Seen every single one. Um, there was one point I was lucky. I actually saw Rush in London at Wembley Arena, which was pretty interesting. Um, of all the shows I saw, definitely the most. I'm probably going to get comments on this. The most laid back audience, like people sitting with their arms folded, which was like bizarre to me. But it was very cool to see them over there and talk to fans in London. I got a nice bootleg Rush jacket from a guy in the parking lot there that I have. Trying to remember other stories. I brought my son to see Rush, I think 3 times, starting when he was 8 years old. And there's a drum set right here. That's my son's drum set. He's 25 now and plays the drums. He did a great post on Facebook the other day that he remembers the concert I brought him to. I was able to see Rush front row at Red Rocks, front row, because I knew people who worked there. And I brought my son, and we're on Alex's side. And one point in the concert, Alex walked right over to my son and smiled and pointed right at him because he was wearing my old Farewell to Kings t-shirt gave to him. And that was a highlight. It was a big highlight of my life. And he remembers it at age 25. He really remembered that. And Alex smiled at him and pointed. It was really, really cool. I don't know. Then as I got older, of course, I always got into Neil's lyrics. I mean, his lyrics are amazing. To me, rock and roll is just music, music, and there's lyrics in there somewhere. But Rush was always like, I would study those lyrics. I'd read those lyrics and learn them and study them. And it meant a lot to me, the words, like subdivisions. I'm like, does he like know where I live or know my life? It was just the most bizarre thing when he wrote that because it was just so true. Um, as I got older, I discovered him as an author and writing books. I'm gonna make this video two pieces so I could show all my memorabilia, flip the camera around, show some other stuff. So this is just part one. Um, I'm sorry I didn't rehearse this and I'm not going to edit it. Um, when 2015 came around, I saw the last Rush show in Denver, that tour, and my 150-pound Newfoundland was dying that morning of the show. And we called the vet and we have to go put him down. And I had this Rush show to go to. And with discussion with my wife and my mind freaking out, I went to Rush. You know, we got in the car. She went to the vet to put him down and dropped me off at the train station. And I went and saw Rush. That was the last time I ever saw Rush. Last time I ever saw my dog. July 2015. That's how much of a Rush fan I am. And of course, I love my dog. Um, that was what you call a bittersweet show for me. Um, when Neil said he was going to retire or whatever, I was, I was sad for myself to not see Rush anymore, but I was actually really happy for him. He deserves it, all the work he did all those years, and he deserves to rest and be with his new little daughter and enjoy the rest of his life. It's like, it's great. Go out on top, you know. So, uh, when I found out he died, it was shocking. Sorry, but one of my points was to not cry. Um, it was just so shocking. It's felt bad for the guy. Well, for his new family, and it's unbelievable. So anyway, I'd rather remember the good times. Um, discovering Neil as a writer, I've read all of his books. Um, the one about when his daughter died and his wife died was like an incredible book, and I've actually have two copies of that. I have one wrapped up that waiting to give to someone. If one of their loved one dies, I'm gonna give them that book, and I've recommended it to other people. And his other books are like gave me such a lust for travel and for the world. His bike riding, his motorcycle riding, and incredible author. Incredible author. I'm a I'm a big fan of writing, and I kind of write for a living myself, even though it's a stupid corporate job. Um, Huge fan of his writing. I mean, incredible drummer, incredible writer. He's going to be missed. He's really going to be missed. Um, so yeah, 40 years of Rush. I was pretty much there the whole time. I kind of got in a bandwagon like 76, 77, so I was couple years late. Um, I think that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to do another part of this video and show you all the stuff I have here. I have some very unique items. I know they're unique because I took the photos myself and there's only one copy of them. And I have a lot of other stuff, but that's part one. I'm just doing this for the hell of it. Maybe someone can relate to it. Thanks. Bye.